I wake up every day folded into the driver's seat of a 2009 Honda Accord that smells like stale fries and stubborn hope. The windows fog, the seatbelt leaves waffles on my cheek, and shopping carts rattle past like metal maracas. I wipe a circle, clear with my sleeve, and pretend the world can't see me. Name's Miles Porter. After my divorce detonated, I became a three-job man. Warehouse at dawn, line cook at lunch, ride share at night. The math never added up. It couldn't, not after my ex Tessa and her boyfriend Blake Warren, attorney at Cufflinks, used a missed emergency hearing to walk off with my properties, our accounts, and my grandfather's trust fund. The one meant to help me start a business at 35. A crooked trustee called it a prudent temporary allocation to keep Tessa's wellness startup afloat. I called it theft with letterhead. That's the morning a calm knock hit my window. Not a cop, not security. Worse, family. "Open up, Miles," said the man in the wool coat. "It's Gideon, my mother's brother, the rich one, the family scandal, the guy who somehow turned risk into a career. He didn't pity the toothbrush in my glove box or the plastic bin of clothes behind the passenger seat. He bought 2 coffees, sat on the curb with me, and asked if I wanted a shower. He handed me a fob. Studio over one of my depots, heat locks, hot water, then a key. Back office books, vendor files. If you want more than a place to hide, learn the numbers. They don't lie. People do. I took both. Learning to read the crime hot water will make a grown man cry. I did. Then Gideon showed up with breakfast and 3 people who didn't look like Charity. Priya, depot manager, Precision wrapped in a polo, Omar, IT, quiet, surgical, allergic to drama, Joy, driver supervisor, sarcasm for armor, gold for a heart. Not handouts, Gideon said. A team, if you want one. At night, I stared at ledgers until the columns blurred. Gideon tapped the pages. Income, outflow, match them, follow the trail. Others slid me pieces. Nina at the bank whispered how to request my own records, legally, and printed transaction histories like she was passing contraband. Mr. Delgado at the clerk's office showed me how to pull case files. Paper leaves footprints, kid. Omar mirrored websites. Screens change. Keep your own copy. Patterns appeared. My trust money ran through Pretty Shells, Larkview Holdings, Blue Quill Partners, Eastwell Consulting, into Warren and Klein, Advisory, Blake's side hustle, and finally Vitalume Wellness, Tessa's Lotus logo empire. A memo from the trustee, Randall Pierce, oozed corporate perfume. Given Ms. Lang's relationship to Counsel Warren, synergy opportunities exist. Synergy, Gideon said. Translation, they're stealing with good stationery. I wanted payback. Gideon asked if I wanted my life back. Both, I said. Then we do it clean. Unlikely allies. Help arrived in plain clothes. Avery, Tessa's overlooked assistant, met me in a quiet coffee shop. She slid over a manila folder with shaking hands. Emails, invoices, calendars. Drafts titled Strategy If Miles Appears. One note read, Default is our path of least resistance. She left before the guilt could catch her. I whispered my thank you to her empty chair. Joy smirked when she saw the folder. Now you need a shark who bites legal. She introduced Lark, a PI with a trench coat and a grocery list approach to war. Motion to set aside for fraud, bar complaint, malpractice, wire fraud referral, and then Marisol Kent, lawyer, surgeon, buzzsaw. She read our binder without a word, closed it, and said, Good, it's ugly. Judges understand ugly. She made me read everything, too. You're not a bystander, Miles. You're the plaintiff. So I highlighted, tabbed, labeled. Joy called it fraud school. I kept showing up, Sue. The Galavita Looms launch party looked like prom for people who think crystals cure debt. White orchids, purple lights, lotus ice sculpture. Tessa glowed in the emerald dress I once paid for. Blake worked the room, cufflinks, blinking like sirens. Gideon's nod was our cue. The ballroom doors opened, process servers, investigators from the State Bar and the AG's Financial Crimes Unit. Phones rose like a forest. Blake got served mid-speech. Tessa turned white when they said subpoena. The trustee perspired through appearance of fraudulent transfer. No yelling. No scenes. Just paperwork with teeth. Gideon squeezed my shoulder. Clean. 5. Court, the long way. Real court is boring because it's serious. Marisol was a scalpel. Proof. My emergency hearing notice was sent to an old address despite a forwarding order. Prudent trustee decisions that coincidentally enriched Blake. Conflict of interest spelled out in Avery's emails. The memo. Default is our path of least resistance. The judge's eyebrows climbed. Blake's charm cracked. Tessa's new lawyer called her a beneficiary of circumstances. The judge read for long, quiet minutes. Then, prior orders vacated. Trust frozen and placed with a neutral fiduciary. Properties returned to my control pending accounting. Referrals of Blake and Pierce to the bar and securities unit. Outside, cameras shouted. I kept walking. Survival isn't a sound bite. Building, not burning, winning on paper isn't victory. It's permission to do the chores. Marisol turned court orders into calendars. Gideon translated schedules into routes. I unlocked old doors and met the rooms like old friends. The cedar shelves I'd sanded. The nick in the baseboard where a D toolbox once fell. Tenants asked if I was the old landlord or the new one. Both, I said, and fixed a leaky faucet. We rebuilt with boring choices that matter. Pay the plumber on time, label the breaker, mow before it's folklore. Priya ran boundary boot camp. Short, clear, enforceable. No, you can't have 2-day service at 1-day prices. No, vibes are not net 90 credit. Omar and I sketched a tool for people drowning in spreadsheets. BrickNote, photo receipts, reminders, clean exports, and an emergency bundle everything lenders want button. No mascot, just a neat toolbox. Joy ran hiring like a second chance. Fair. Veterans, single parents, people with resume potholes. Keon took the worst route without whining. Marta brought extra lunches for whoever forgot. Culture became simple. Groan, then help. We got tested. A dead pallet jack, a burst pipe, a vendor sneaking in a fuel surcharge that insulted math. We handled it. Call the plumber, renegotiate, stack fans, keep freight moving. Problems stopped. Feeling like verdicts. They felt like Tuesday. Tessa appeared once at the depot threshold, smaller than the memory. I'm sorry, she said. I wished her healing and kept the door closed. Boundaries lock from the inside. New wealth months stretched. Calendars turned from triage to plan. Site walks, lender check-ins, app sprints, town halls. Joy insists pizza requires fancy names. We negotiated a second depot by practicing silence. Discounts sprout when you don't rush to fill the air. A tool library appeared. A small education stipend. The Start Again board filled with notes. Rehab started custody hearing 1. GED passed keys picked up first clean month on a Sunday. I set an honest welcome mat at my condo. Did you text first? And placed the old parking pass on the sill like a relic before tucking it into a drawer labeled Lessons. I told my dad's photo we were okay. The room agreed by being quiet. 2 years on, the depot hums. A heart with caffeine habits. 3. Sites now. A couple dozen people who like the place they clock in. BrickNote pays for itself. No confetti, just invoices that export clean for the folks holding up the economy with duct tape and grit. I'm not hedge fund rich. I'm time rich, boundary rich, dignity rich. I eat hot food on plates, not wrappers on dashboards. Naps happen on couches. That's a spa day for anyone who's lived in a car. Gideon and I started the Porter Price Start Again Fund, Small grants for people climbing out of the ditch. Our first award bought a sous chef a set of knives. She cried like generosity was a blade. That's when it hit me. I used to need help. Now I handed across the table. We took sandwiches to my father's grave. I set the old parking pass beside. The flowers. I'm not angry, I told the stone. I'm busy. Busy is a blessing. As for the villains, Blake is under disciplinary review. Pierce is learning that prudent isn't a fig leaf for laundering. But their collapse isn't my victory anymore. My victory is routine. Forklifts beeping, labels right side up, payday landing on time. It's Keon covering a shift without Martyr Theater. Marta stuffing granola bars in my pocket. Priya fixing my crooked tie while roasting me for it. Omar asking if I'm ready to push a build like he's offering cream in my coffee. People ask how I did it. How I went from fogged windshield to keys on a ring that actually belonged to me. I don't give them a montage. I give them the boring, beautiful answer. Slowly, cleanly, with numbers that told the truth and people who stood beside me. At closing, the depot goes quiet. I turn the deadbolt and listen for the soft click. It doesn't. Say don't take this from me anymore. It says, we built this. See you tomorrow.